The longest street in the world. The story of Yonge Street, from Colonial Road to Toronto's lifeline. Yonge Street, a name synonymous with Toronto, a city of over 7 million people. A cultural and financial hub of Canada and the longest street in the world. Stretching over 1,800 kilometers, it connects the heart of Toronto to the far northern reaches of Ontario. But how did this iconic street come to be? How did it evolve from a colonial trade route into the beating heart of Canada's largest city? In this documentary, we will uncover the story of Yonge Street, Toronto's lifeline. The story of Yonge Street begins in the late 1700s, during the early days of British rule in Canada. In 1794, Lieutenant Governor John Graves Simcoe had a bold vision for the future of the province. He saw the potential of this land, rich in natural resources but isolated by dense forests and rugged terrain. Simcoe recognized the need for a route to connect the nascent capital of Upper Canada, York, now known as Toronto, to the northern wilderness. This was more than just a road. It was a critical link for military, trade, and settlement purposes. And so, Yonge Street was born. Named after Sir George Yonge, a British Secretary of State for War, the road stretched from the shores of Lake Ontario to the northern frontier, cutting through dense forests and uncharted territories. The construction was grueling, involving laborers who had to clear forests, build bridges, and pave the way through the Canadian wilderness. At first, Yonge Street was little more than a dirt trail, an essential military and trade route for the British and settlers. However, as Toronto began to grow in the 19th century, this humble road would evolve into a major commercial and cultural artery. As Toronto's population swelled in the 1800s, Yonge Street became an increasingly vital thoroughfare, not just for local traffic, but for settlers traveling from across the province. The need for expansion was clear, and so began the slow but steady transformation of Yonge Street. From a simple route into the center of Toronto's urban development. By the early 20th century, the streetcar had become a symbol of Toronto's rapid urbanization. The streetcar tracks laid down along Yonge Street in the 1890s connected residents and businesses across the growing city, ensuring that the northern suburbs could stay closely tied to the bustling downtown core. But this was just the beginning. The rise of the automobile in the 1920s and 1930s dramatically altered the urban landscape. As Toronto's population exploded, it became clear that new, more efficient transportation was needed. 1950s and 1960s, Toronto, subway construction. In 1951, a game-changing proposal was made: the construction of a subway system to alleviate the congestion caused by streetcars and automobiles. The first subway line was inaugurated in 1954, but it was the Yonge Subway Line, opened in 1956, that would define Toronto's growth. With its opening, the Yonge Subway Line connected Toronto's downtown to its northern suburbs, making it possible for residents to commute efficiently, linking diverse communities along its 18-kilometer stretch. Today, The Yonge Subway Line remains the backbone of Toronto's public transit system, the busiest subway line in North America, carrying over 700,000 people a day. Yonge-Dundas Square, present day. But Toronto's transformation wasn't just about transportation, it was about culture, commerce, and growth. In the 1990s, Yonge Street's significance grew even further with the development of Yonge-Dundas Square, a massive public space that became Toronto's answer to Times Square. Yonge-Dundas Square has become one of the busiest intersections in Canada. A space for shopping, dining, entertainment, and public gatherings, it attracts millions of visitors each year and remains a focal point of Toronto's entertainment district. Yonge Street isn't just a road, it's a place where many have grown up. Over the years, it has changed and adapted to the community's needs. It's where people shop, meet friends, and catch public transit to work. This street is a central part of life for many. Yonge Street represents the evolution of Toronto. It's more than just an infrastructure project. It's a living, breathing part of the city's identity. Its transformation from a trade route to a modern transit hub shows the adaptability of urban planning. Future of Yonge Street. Urban planning, subway expansion, looking to the future, Yonge Street continues to play a pivotal role in Toronto's development. With the city's growth showing no signs of slowing, projects like the Ontario Line subway extension will further solidify Yonge Street's position as the city's lifeline. The Ontario Line, which will connect the east and west sides of the city, will provide a seamless connection for commuters, feeding into the Yonge Subway Line and further extending its reach. Yonge Street at night today. Yonge Street is a vibrant, constantly evolving corridor, lined with towering skyscrapers, bustling retail spaces, and thousands of people. From its humble colonial beginnings to its status as the longest street in the world, Yonge Street has remained a constant, a symbol of Toronto's resilience, innovation, and ambition. Toronto skyline. Yonge Street is more than just a road. It's a living testament to the growth of Toronto, a city that continues to thrive, adapt, and push the boundaries of what's possible. The future of Yonge Street is brighter than ever, and we can only imagine where this iconic road will take us next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below.